Give it up for Tiffany, everybody. All day long, setting us up. Guys, let's bring them out because they're so lovely and they are the stars of the #1 Trilly of all time. #1 Trilly, Sean Astin and Elijah Wood.
Hello. Oh, man. Hi, Los Angeles.
Soy Hector Navarro.
There's a lot of you here. This is amazing. Hi.
Wait, can you say my name again with that accent?
Well, I said I'm Hector. Soy Hector Navarro.
Really good, Sean. Wow.
De Los Angeles. Hola, Los Angeles. It is so good to be home. I thought we were going to a boat show today. I'm like, I gotta say, today more people have wished me luck to come. I'm like, the stakes are high.
Good luck for the panel?
I
Good
guess
luck.
they're like,
You're like, why? Do I need to be
We have to be
nervous?
terribly interesting and funny and relevant and, it's exhausting. Yeah.
You guys are good. If it doesn't go well, it's my fault. That's why I'm here. You guys are fantastic.
Lame Hector.
These guys are so sweet. We are going to open it up to the audience for fan questions. We're absolutely going to do that, and I want to give as much time for that as possible, but these guys are so sweet. Sean said, Hector, just open up with whatever's interesting to you. I just have a few questions for you guys.
Yeah.
There are so many things that you are both in that I think we all love. It's crazy to sit there and look at everything that you guys have done. But I have to mention, I'm a lover of animation. And you guys have been in some awesome, I'm talking Tron Uprising is a show I love. You were awesome as Shazam in the various Justice League things you were in. So good. Fall just about ended. I don't call it fall anymore. I call it over the hedge season is what I call it. No, over the garden wall season is what I call it. Thank you. Over the garden wall. Sorry. Over the Hedge is tomorrow, William Shatner, but Over the Garden Wall, which is a beautiful show, it's so good.
Oh, thank you,
and
I love it.
Sean,
I was thinking we should say the name of something and have the audience guess whether it was me or Elijah in it.
we could try that.
Next year.
Okay, which one of these two was in Rudy? Okay, and also, Sean, I gotta mention Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 2012, one of my favorite. It's so good. So just to talk about animation and the work you guys have done, I would love to ask, you guys are actors, you're on-camera actors, you've also done animation. What to you is the key for when you go do a voice acting job?
Ooh. Oh, that's a great question.
I mean, it's so cool to start with animation. It's such a great way to start a show. Yeah.
It's really different, but it's also the same. In the sense that, you are building a character and imbuing that character with life and reality and whatever that character needs to be. So that process is the same. But what's different is that you're not thinking about any of the physicality in a traditional sense. You don't have props. Oftentimes you don't ever have other actors to work opposite. Given that it's done in a studio in front of a mic, they can schedule it around people's availability. So sometimes it can be a very solitary experience, and so it's trying to make something that is physically not happening to you seeming like it's happening to you through your voice, which is a really interesting challenge. There's no artifice, there's no wardrobe, there's none of the context that you get when you're on a film set, which provides you as an actor with so much of the choices that you make. You're reacting to everything around you as well as the people opposite you. Animation is this really technical, focused, each line, you're imbuing it with all these sort of things that you want to in a way that you don't quite think of in that focused way quite the same on a film set. Would you say that's true?
I sort of just want to go to your next animation voiceover recording session and pantomime stuff in front of you. So so you don't feel like you're just alone in front of the microphone.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if I do it well, but I'd be enthusiastic. I always want to help Mr. Frodo. But of course, everything you said is exactly, I think, universal. But there's so many ways to get at this conversation. I don't think I've been able to really enjoy in podcast or settings like this talking about animation. So I just love that you brought it up. But one thing is you can look at anything. I remember saying they're doing an animated thing of Crayola crayons, and I'm like, I can be the blue one. You're like, oh, well, there's doves. Like, I could play a dove. I could play a stick. I could play a rock. I could play, there's like nothing that you can conceive of that you couldn't be the voice for. And then when you work on different shows, I mean, the three I have in mind at the moment are Oso, Special Agent Oso. Special Agent Oso. It's all part of the plan. Which was Disney Channel before they had Disney Junior. And, you get to know, and Bunnicula. Does anybody know Bunnicula?
Great show.
The book from the 70s that we did 3 years of, and Jessica, who was the creative force behind it. Ford did Oso, Jessica did that, and then Cyril Neal did the Turtles. And you get to, I key on these people who are the creative center of gravity in the show. And you walk into the booth and you're like, tell me what you're working on. Tell me what's going on. Oh, well, we're finishing this episode, and they just gave us, this arc is going in this direction. And oh, here's some sketches. Jessica would show us sketches of what she was doing. And I'm like feeding off of how they got a show sold and how they get to the patience that they have to have over a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 year period. We're just dropping in for for a day or 2 or 3, and they're so excited because they've been building this house, and when we show up, it's like the day they put the grass and the flowers in. It's like, oh, now it's a house. You're like, no, you built the whole architecture for it. It was a house before we got here. So there's just something about their passion, their professionalism, their creativity that I'm playing to them.
That's cool.
I'm playing to them. I want that person to be happy with what I'm doing. And usually there's a director, and the directors are always have so much energy, and they have to manage so many different personalities and people and the clock and this kind of thing. And so they're like your pace car. You're holding on to them for dear life to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. But then you're looking right behind them on the couch through the glass at the creator, when the creator's, you can just tell when they're happy, and you can tell when they're not. And you want to it makes it so fun. You're like, oh, now we're doing Lego. Oh, now we're doing video game. Oh, now we're doing this. And you walk in and you're like, what an unbelievable career to get to do. I get home and my wife and kids are like, what did you do today? I'm like, oh, I was Chester, Night of the Living Invasion! Like, that was your day, Dad? Yeah, did you have an essay? What did you do? You know what I mean? It's like, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, I just love when I'm watching something and I get to hear you guys. It brings me so much joy, but you're also so fantastic at all those various roles that you mentioned. So that's awesome. So I got to ask about animation. I think after that, we can go ahead and open it up to the fans. If anybody's got fan questions, I'll try to also, if I can help, if you guys need me to repeat any of the questions, I can try to hear them and then repeat them. And we've got somebody here with the microphone coming out into the crowd. Elijah, Sean, would you guys like to pick somebody that's got a question for you?
Hector, you be in charge. I think you should stand up, walk to the front of the stage.
Too much pressure.
You guys stay there.
Think age range, diversity.
Look, the Invisible Man is here.
Oh my God!
One of the broke girls here. How about here? Right here. She's got a question.
I'm saying, look, the Invisible Man is here. I'm like, where?
Hi everyone. Hi Sean. Hi Elijah.
Hi.
I'm so excited. So my question is for Elijah. I heard that you like video games.
Yes.
What is your all-time favorite video game, and are you playing anything now?
Oh, all time? I mean, that's like all-time favorite movie, all-time favorite record. It's so hard, but
You have 2 kids. Which is your favorite one of them?
Whoa! Nope.
What do you
all-time
first
favorite?
of all,
I would say formative game for me. Growing up, as a child of the 90s, the LucasArts adventure games were really significant. Yeah, oh man, they're the best. And Monkey Island was really, really significant, and sort of it probably was the first one that I played that really set me into becoming a fan of that particular genre, and I've played so many since. So I would probably say the original Monkey Island game, and the new one is great. It's great, like such a beautiful return. It's playing the hits and continuing the story. It's so great. But yeah, that game in particular. And what am I playing now? The new Monkey Island. But I just downloaded the new Call of Duty that I'm really excited about. And, you know, everyone keeps telling me how great the new God of War is too, which I have not.
Sean, do you have a favorite video game of all time?
Pong.
Another one, honorable mention. This is just like nostalgia for me, because games are nostalgia, especially when you grow up with them. But on Game Boy, Super Mario Land. Did anybody play Super Mario Land?
Elijah,
And in particular, that soundtrack,
Yes.
it's just, I'll sometimes just pull up the YouTube of the end theme and fucking jam, dude. It's so good.
I'm literally not joking. I'm playing that for the first time right now.
Yes.
And my girlfriend was like, "You've never played that? They're
Super
so
Mario
good."
Land is
And I started
great.
playing it. And it's this weird little. You step on a guy and he goes and falls off to the side. It's a beautiful game. It's so good.
So good.
Game Boy.
So I did I did the narration for a documentary called Video Games, the Movie.
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And
It's good. You should, Elijah, you should watch it.
At first, the guy, Jeremy Sneed, who produced it and directed it, he came to Alabama. I was working on a movie, and he just wanted to interview me about video games. And I'm no, connoisseur. I mean, I can't tell you who the designers were and that kind of thing. But after an hour and a half of talking to him, I was like, "Can I please narrate the whole movie, and can I produce it with you, and can I live in your house?" And because he knew
is so
every
Sean.
studio.
It is so you.
And we did.
I love it.
We just we took over, and he.
So cool.
So in the first 7 minutes is this montage set to the Queen, Outer Space Rocket Star. What's the Queen song?
Flash? Gordon? No. Queen.
Rocket ship to Mars.
Don't stop me now.
Don't stop.
Yeah.
Stop me now.
Yeah,
That's right.
And it's a montage set to that, and you talk about nostalgia. I mean, you're literally like, if you're not crying, then you weren't born in the 70s and 80s. I mean, it's so beautiful. And then we did a TV series called Unlocked, where we did 8 episodes, and it was sort of 3 known people each episode taking you into some element of video games. So going to New York Film Academy and seeing how they have game design,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah,
I gotta see that.
yeah. So there was that, and then we just finished Nintendo the movie, where we did a documentary about Nintendo, and we kind of were like, how do you tell the story of this company from the 1800s when it was a game company?
Yeah, they made cards.
Yeah, cards and trinkets and stuff like that. So we actually built in miniature their early offices that they would have had in Tokyo,
what?
and yeah.
When have you done this?
I do a lot. I do a lot of things. So
That's awesome.
But if you were to just hit me right between the eyes with what do you love? Age of Empires, skirmish mode, Age of Empires 2 skirmish mode, and my wife and I'm pretty sure
You guys got down with that game.
We networked the computers
I
together,
know, I
land
remember
them
that.
together, and my wife and I would be like, you hear the baby crying, you're like, don't attack. I'll go do it. I'll change the diaper. Just don't attack, But the kids, we play Mario Kart on the Wii. We do, it's like this. We could just, all day long with that one. Video games are. It's so much fun now to talk to people like in the Midwest or the South or working class families where all the kids do all day long is play video games and the parents are pulling their hair out, and you're like, actually, it's like a $6 billion. It makes more money than music, sports, movies, television, every other entertainment art form you can think of combined. Video games are beating it. There's careers for them. Their imaginations can be unlocked, and they can we the future is behind us almost, you know. So video games, good question.
If anybody gives you a hard time about playing video games, just send them that clip of Sean just passionately defending them. That was awesome. Great question. Thank you.
Seen intended the movie.
I want to go over here to the next question. You right here. Yes. What's your question?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm curious. So, the cast for Lord of the Rings, it seemed from like interviews and pranks that you guys bonded like really well. I'm curious, do you still hang out or reunite at any given time?
So the question is in regards to us on Lord of the Rings and
Yeah, like
the
you
bond that we had there, and do we?
the
Does
Hobbits
that's
and, like, y'all
So you guys
hang
can't
out?
see it, but Rosie Cotton just asked a question about Frodo and Sam's love affair, and if we meet every fall at the same cottage at the same time. That's what I think she was. I don't know. Do we hang out?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, look,
I know.
Look, the reality is, we are all. Everyone that engaged in making those films, we are linked for life, regardless of whether we get the wonderful opportunity to spend time together or see each other. We're intrinsically linked, and we always will be. And it's that kind of thing that when you spend that kind of intimate time with people over a long period of time, years will have gone by and you see them and it's like no time has passed, and that's the kind of bond that we all share. But yes, I mean we currently have a Hobbit text thread where we share our crossword scores on the New York Times crossword, mini crosswords,
And Wordle.
And Wordle.
Every day
Yeah.
at midnight East Coast time somehow.
Yeah.
When the New York Times mini puzzle comes out, usually you or Dom are the first to do it. It seems like.
Yeah, typically.
And our goal is to get all four of us on the same day, do it in under a minute. And so Elijah's are usually like 101 to 130, sometimes faster. I'm usually in the 4 to 8 minutes.
Yeah.
When I've had two under a minute, and I couldn't concentrate on anything else that day.
Do you guys know the New York Times mini crossword? So it's just a tiny little bite-sized thing. And
It's like a video
timed,
game.
right? And so we just try and do it as fast as possible. It's so fun and so satisfying, and when you get stuck, it's the most maddening thing. Not yet.
We just spent this year the 4 Hobbits.
You can probably say something, because
I think it's good.
it's good. This is the crowd
place to tease it. Yeah. So the Hobbits, Dom, Billy, Sean, and Master Frodo, Elijah. We did, I think, so far 8, and I think we're going to do one more. It's maybe 8 or 9, and then we're going to do one more in Pittsburgh, where it's all 4 of us. And
for the first time, by the way, like prior to this year, the 4 of us being in one shared space, it's been maybe a decade. And it's not to say that we all haven't individually seen each other, we absolutely have a lot, but not the 4 of us in one shared space. So this year has been kind of an unprecedented, extraordinary year for us, because almost every month we were in another city and breaking bread and sharing stories and
dinner in every city. Elijah's a bit of a foodie. He finds these incredible spots for us.
And Dom too.
And Dom too. And then, off the beaten path, hotels to stay at, and breakfast in the morning. And it's like, it's better than when we were making the movie. And movies. And then the thing that we were just discussing whether or not to share in this moment is that Elijah really, I think we all kind of had ideas, but you really grabbed the bull by the horns and created a tour t-shirt. Yeah, that's got, like, on the back, like you'd go on a rock and roll tour. It's got the list. I mean, we were in Bree, I think, in July, and we were in Calgary, and then the design on the front is really well. You want to talk about the artist?
Yeah, Jess Rotter is an incredible artist. She does a lot of stuff for Light in the Attic Records. She's done album artwork. She does a lot of t-shirt design. She's really incredible, and a friend, so just immediately thought of her. And so yeah, we've just kind of got this tour t-shirt that we're just about to launch really soon. That just came out of all of us hanging out. And
Is LA going to be on it?
I don't think, because it's the 4 of us, so I don't know if LA is going to be on that list. It's just the 4 Hobbits. not to be, overly anal.
I'm gonna work on that.
But in answer to your question, we're all a big extended family, and the four of us obviously share a very specific special bond because we spent a lot of time together in New Zealand, and we were all around the same age, but that extends beyond the four hobbits into everyone else. And
I'm just picturing those early years in 2008, 9, 10 when I would come over to your house to cook, and you were like, Sean, it's cool, but potatoes.
Hell of a gardener.
Sean, I'm sure that some fan here today is probably going to come up with their own T-shirt with this day and date, and then you'll sign it at some point, and they're just going to be stoked about this.
That does happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Awesome. All right, I want to go over here to this section if possible. Somebody's got a question. You right here, with the Spider-Man shirt.
Hello, I'm Soliata. I love you both so much, and I was just wondering if you've seen the new Rings of Power TV show, and what do you think about it?
Rings of Power. I also want to say, too, I want to thank you guys, as a huge Lord of the Rings fan, for you guys having that supportive, beautiful message, all are welcome here, that was happening as the show was coming out. It meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to so many fans. So just we really appreciate it. So the question is, Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power show. What did you guys think of it? Did you get a chance to see it?
Well, we love you too. Even though you're not that tall yet, we still love you. Thank you for your question. You want to go first?
Go ahead.
All right. So, that moment of solidarity with all the different races and species that are in Lord of the Rings, and just sort of communicating our solidarity with the cast of the Rings of Power, and with the creative artist loving world.
There's obviously something that has something that festers in the online space, certainly as more expression of rightfully so of a wider variety of people present in culture, and in culture that we all love, Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and so on and so forth. There's obviously a really shitty backlash to that is a little unsettling. So it was starting to happen a little bit for the folks that were about to release this incredible series, and so it was the least that we could do to sort of say that we stand by everybody, and that is a space for everyone, and as it should be,
And I think the overwhelming feeling that the show has had and that the cast has had is really positive.
Yeah.
So, but I watched the first 2 episodes when I was making a movie in Chicago, and I thought they were incredible. I thought they were absolutely incredible. I think on the one hand, they really owed a debt of aesthetic gratitude to Peter Jackson and the entire visual team with Lord of the Rings, because it really felt connected artistically to that. A lot of times people want to create a full break and do something totally new, and I felt like it honored the Peter Jackson's trilogy. But then, where they've come digitally, the paintings, the cast. I mean, I love that. For me, Lord of the Rings is about Peter and Franz and Philippa, but really Peter and Franz storytelling. And what was amazing was that a filmmaker who was working on such a big canvas didn't have to kowtow or have their wings clipped by a studio because of money. He was able to make an intimate, story on this massive backdrop. This series, what's interesting to me, and in the first half of the first episode, they're setting up multiple seasons. They're setting up all these storylines. So it's a different emotional connection. And by the end of the second one, is it spoiler alert? When they're going to the Grey Havens and she realizes it's a trap and she goes into the water, Galadriel goes into the water, I'm all in. And I'm all in with it. So I haven't had time. I'm in grad school and doing a lot of other stuff, but I'm looking forward to. And the people I've talked to, I don't think I know whether you've seen deeper into it.
I've only seen 3 episodes, but what I saw, I loved.
Yeah. So, but I'm a
the cast.
booster. I'm a booster for it. 20 years ago, when we started doing conventions, people would say, well, do you ever think it'll be remade? And, people, oh, no, it'll never. I'm like, yeah, of course it's going to be remade. And I said, I bet in 20 years they remake it, and I bet it'll be awesome. So since I'm Nostradamus and accurately predicted the future, the least I could do is continue to enjoy what they're doing.
That's a great question. Thank you. I want to get somebody from over here in this section right here. Who's got a question? You've got a question? Go ahead.
Hi. I wanted to continue what you guys were talking about with the Hobbit tour. I was really hoping Dom and Billy would be here today, but they're not. And since they're not, I was wondering if you guys could tell us a story about them, like something
A story
you guys
about
have
them.
done together.
About
Yeah.
them that might catch up to them on their travels.
I think it feels like a good time to embarrass them. I don't know about you guys if you wanted. It's a perfect opportunity to embarrass the heck out of them.
Well, you got to be careful what threads you pull on.
The thing is that they've done a very good job of sharing their own embarrassing stories.
They got a great
the
podcast.
Friendship Onion. You guys listen to the Friendship
It's
Onion?
great. Their podcast is great for anyone who's not heard it. I highly recommend. Those two men are built for that medium. They are so good. They're so naturally funny and riff off of each other so beautifully. So whip smart But stories about them. I mean, there's a legendary story about them, but they've told it a bunch. They were sent to the location near Edoras. They were on wet weather cover. Do you know this? Where they moved them into this house in Methven, I think it was, and they were in the house for like a couple of weeks without working because
Forgot about them.
Yeah, because they were just isolated there in this house because they were just on call for if the weather was ever bad, but the weather was never bad, so they were never called, and they just got. It was 2 shut-ins with like a VCR and weed.
Just picture like Jack Nicholson in The Shining, and then the Hobbits went mad.
I think it started really fun and then it got crazy. And there's the thing about it is that there's video of it and they don't know who has the footage. They filmed like ridiculous comedy shorts, like weird, probably super stoned, psychedelic, Billy Dom.
I've got a Dom
losing their mind things, and it exists somewhere, and they don't know where it is.
I've got a Dom story that's really about Elijah. I think we were going to Toronto. We weren't, like I said, we've done like 8 of these cities, so I can't remember exactly what city it was. But they were at Burbank Airport, and Dom's passport or his visa or something wasn't right, and they were taking too long, and
there was something where they wouldn't print a boarding pass for him. So we both check in. We're both going to the same destination. We're on the same flight, going to Toronto, and get to the gate or get to the check-in. I get my boarding pass, and they won't print his boarding pass, and they can't figure out what it is. And there was something about like a form that he had to fill out that we weren't told about, some visa form. And so it's taking a long time. He fills this thing out. That still doesn't execute the boarding pass. And what started as being a fair amount of time before the plane were to leave, it's eating that time, and it's becoming kind of quickly apparent that we're not going to make the flight, or that he's not going to make the flight. And you can carry it.
Yeah, so Elijah gets to the moment where if he's going to make the flight, he's got to decide to go to the plane and say, good luck getting on the plane, or I'll see you on the next one. And Elijah forgoes his flight, and Dom takes an Uber from Burbank to LAX.
They rerouted us, so they rerouted my flight as well.
And Elijah, like Samwise Gamgee, carrying his bags, gets in the car with him, and they go over. And when they land, Billy, who has a podcast with Dom, you've never met 2 friends closer than these 2 guys, is like, there is no way I would ever not get on my flight in order to accompany your dumb ass.
It was fucking hilarious, actually. This dinner, we had this really great dinner in Toronto, and Billy had just had a couple of drinks with some family members, some extended family that he had in Toronto. So Billy was just ever so slightly on the tipsy side, which is rare. But it was that kind of tipsy where it makes you smarter and funnier somehow, and just everything that came out of his mouth was comic gold. And he just went on.
And kind of cutting. Like Billy doesn't have a bad word to say about anyone, right? But when he starts doing comebacks at you, you're like, whoa, did he just zing? That was a zinger.
But yeah, him declaring that he never would have followed Dom is really fun.
But it's an amazing thing when you share meals and travel with people and you know each other so well. And there's a lot of kind of mundane times, okay, well, I'll see you tomorrow, I'll do this, I'll do that. And then all of a sudden something happens and it just, I don't know, it just is special. Yeah, there you go.
Awesome question. Awesome question. All right, I want to come to this section right here. Okay, we've got one right here, arm straight up. She's got a question.
Hi. Do you guys have a piece of memorabilia from a movie or set that you are especially proud to have, like a prized possession?
I know you're not Maleficent, but who are you?
Oh, I'm Keyleth from Vox Machina.
You're
Keyleth.
I'm just wondering if we say the name of an item from the movie, an artifact that we collected, if you're gonna cast a spell and take it. You gotta be careful with these. We have tons of stuff. Not as much as Peter, who has basically the whole movie in a series of sheds. And I have the backpack.
Peter literally has Bag End. Like, Bag End is real. Literally. 100% perfect recreation of Bag End, built for real, not a film set. And it's totally amazing. A working fireplace, but the art's all the same, the set dressing is all the same. It's totally insane.
Well, I think it is a major opportunity for us as billionaire entrepreneurs that they haven't built a Hobbiton inn where people can come and stay in Hobbit holes.
I know.
It seems like a major...
The next step there, because obviously if anyone's been to the Hobbiton's film location, after Lord of the Rings, all of the facades of the Hobbit holes were taken away. And so they opened it up for tours, but it was just these really basic wooden kind of circular pieces against the hillside. So all of the beautiful set design was removed after the films. And then they put it all back and rebuilt it for the Hobbit, but more. I think they added an additional 8 or 10 Hobbit holes and extended it, and the Green Dragon and all that. And then they left that. So if you go now, it's the Green Dragon's real. You can go and have a meal and a drink there. But you're right. There is no Hobbit inn in a Hobbit hole. What the heck? That's a missed opportunity.
Well, I'm just saying we could put that together. We'll talk to some.
Right?
Yeah.
That would be great. And then
I'm always thinking, guys. Always.
And we're automatically ambassadors of the Shire.
Yeah. This feels like this turned into a timeshare presentation, but you guys have a lot of people.
And you could have.
I think they're going to sign up.
As long as I'm at the top of the pyramid scheme.
I wanted to kind of keep going this way and grab a question from anybody over here on this
that little
side.
girl right there.
Okay, right here. You've got a question right here.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Thanks a lot for being here today. It's great to meet you. So my question is, casting your minds way back to filming on Lord of the Rings, what was your guys' favourite scenes to film? And alternatively, what was the worst scene to film because someone was just cracking up constantly or something like that?
Great questions. What was your favorite scene to film? And then what was maybe the most challenging one because someone specifically was cracking up too much?
Or challenging in other ways.
Yeah. The ones that you're cracking up at are good scenes. That's fun. Unless it's stop laughing, the sun's going down. But no, the worst, my worst. Well, there were two bad ones. One was, and they both had to do with discomfort and embarrassment. And there was a whole catalog of uncomfortable and embarrassing things, but that was kind of part of it, and it was part of the charm of it, and you just kind of. But there was one scene at the Black Gates when Andy Serkis, Gollum, is pulling the hobbits to safety when the Black Army is marching out of the gates and wants to hide us. The only time that it was ever clear that the cloaks, our coats' cloaks, were invisibility cloaks. They kind of, where we
they
could
were like
see
camouflaging. Yeah.
So
Made us look like rocks or whatever.
there's that, and there's the elven rope that are two kind of like Harry Potter style magic-y things that they didn't go near, but they were in a moment. So Andy grabbed, for some reason, my cloak that day had a super large hood, and Andy grabbed us and pulled us back and we all wore wigs. I don't know if you knew that. Every character of Lord of the Rings wore a wig made from real human hair, Russian hair. I don't know if that's interesting to you. And he pulled my wig right off. Like the way they do the wig is they slick your hair down with glue, and then they twist little bits and they put rubber ties in so that it's an anchor. They set the wig lace on, and then they put pins through the wig lace, through the anchor of the rubber band, so it's locked in there, so it's not going to come off. And then they glue down the wig lace, and they do the makeup of there. Every day of shooting, hour and a half of that, hour of that. And he pulled and ripped it off. So I was standing there like naked with my skirt off, and I was so embarrassed. I was really mad, and I just, instead of enjoying it, being like, oh, ha, isn't that funny? I was like, damn it, and I went marching off to go get a new one. I knew it was going to be done, and Andy Serkis was like, what? It was an accident. And it was like, that was the only discordant moment that I could think of. And the other one was...
That's the only time.
That's the only time it was like a bummer, right? And then I had to be embarrassed and apologize for pouting. So
It's kind of miraculous too, because when you watch those movies, it looks like you guys went through some hell, and that's the one time where you were like,
well, but it's because it's petty that it's noticeable. The real hell where you get knocked out, or you get your bloody foot, or that's you're a warrior, and that's part of the game. But the other one, and once I got super fat, because I was skinny, I ran the LA Marathon right before getting the part, and I was like 165 pounds, and they're saying, 195, 200 if you want, stupid fat Hobbit. It's very clear, very clear what they are expecting of this character. So, and then at a certain point, Fran looked at me and she's like, it's enough now. So there's appealing fat, and then there's a medical condition. So there was a scene where Frodo and Sam are looking at the Oliphants. And we had done the scene in the woods where we saw the elves going away. Look, Mr. Frodo, it's the elves. They're going away, and it was like the prettiest pictures of us that Pierre, the stills photographer, got. I think on my table is probably there's a picture of the two of us from that scene, and that was I felt like we were really acting. It wasn't just like walking across the Shire or walking across Doom. We were actually in awe and wonderment, and we were in the mythology of it. And so when we do the one for the Oliphants, I have the expectation that we are now seeing these fantastical creatures from another species, another land that we have never been to. But because I'm so fat and my backpack was so heavy, and the way they had us on the hill, I couldn't look up. So the camera's here, and I'm trying to look up, and I'm like, Mr. Frodo, look, it's the olive. I'm like, Peter, I can't do. I can't. Is there someone who can pull the backpack down so I can stretch my neck out so I can see the Oliphants? Fucking Oliphants! Where are the goddamn Oliphants? I didn't get to enjoy them until we watched the movie, and Legolas is sliding down, and you're like, that's not what I would have seen if I was looking at it. I would have seen. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, that's 2 for me.
Fuck, how do you follow that? Jesus.
Elijah, I have an idea.
Yeah.
I hate to pull it away, but Sean, I think you guys told this story in Portland. As some of you've heard it, I'm sorry, but maybe Sean, you might want to tell it again. It was another hilarious story between you and Elijah. I think he had the sword on you. Do you remember this moment? Do you know what I'm talking about? And he got I think you got a piece of direction from Peter. Yeah, I thought that was.
Well, I mean, I'm talking too much, but the Elijah, a hard moment for Elijah filming, just as your colleague, as your co-star, he could fall asleep anywhere, at any time. If things got hard, Elijah was nodding, you know, and he'd say, Elijah, it's time to shoot, boop, wide awake, 100%, 1000% ready to go. You're like, you know, or he'll do something like, okay, the watcher or the seer or whatever outside of the balanced tomb is going to pick him up. You know, and I felt very protective of Elijah because I was 29 and he was 19 and I was always worried about everything and he's always like, yeah, it's fine. And they tie the thing on the cherry picker and they lift him up in the air so he's hanging upside down, and it doesn't look, to my eye, like it's, you know, great rigging. It looks like Elijah's made of rubber and they'll do whatever they want with him and he's totally fine with it. But the one he's talking about was in Osgiliath ruins. I don't know if all this sounds like foreign language to people, but Frodo, it's after the battle and Gollum is on us and Sam is wiped out and Frodo has had the ring on and has been, you know, communing with Sauron or whatever, and the ring wraith is there, the fell beast in the air, and we fall down. Like I try and grab him away before he like goes to the fell beast or something, and we fall down the stairs, and he's possessed, and Elijah's just lighting it up, just, you know, sweet Elijah looks like a demon, and he takes Sting and he puts it at me like, you know, Sam, back off or I'm going to kill you. Nobody is going to come between me and the ring. And so we're setting the shot and he's holding Sting and Peter Jackson says, put it under his chin. And Elijah, the gentleman and the professional, comes back with an earnest and reluctant, which one? Which was the great... I don't think we got an answer. He just sort of intuited where to go with it at that point.
Oh, that was great. I think I wanted to ask the young fan up here on the shoulders if we can. If they've got a question.
Is this for Astin? First of all, I would like to say I love Stranger Things and Goonies. And also, what was it like what did you feel like when they told you you could be on Stranger Things?
Great question.
What's your name?
Samantha.
Samantha, how old are you?
7.
7-year-old Samantha has mastered the audience microphone, and I just want all the grown-ups out there to take note that she put her mouth right on the microphone and made it very clear so we could hear. Samantha, thank you for the compliment about Stranger Things and the Goonies. That makes me very happy that you liked them, and so I appreciate when you and any of the fans that we meet at these shows compliment us on our movies. What did it feel like when I got the cast in Stranger Things? I was so happy I was going to get to work with, I'll tell you what, I didn't know anything about Stranger Things until I would do conventions. And people would come up to conventions before it had kind of gotten so popular and say, have you heard of this new show, Stranger Things? It's Goonies. It's Goonies. Have you seen Stranger Things? And I'm like, oh no, I'll have to check it out. I'll have to check it out. And then my agent sends me a thing that says, you know, if you want to audition for Stranger Things, there's an appointment for you Tuesday morning at 11. And I went upstairs and I turned out all the lights and I got under my covers with the laptop and I binged the whole first season. And then I just knew that it was a gift to be invited to be a part of something that was so special and meaningful to so many people, and to be invited into another franchise. And I was very, very excited. And my daughters were excited about it. My oldest daughter helped me audition for the first part I tried out for, which was the reporter. And they said, oh, that's good, but come in for this guy, Bob. And then my younger daughter helped me with that audition. So when I got cast as Bob, she looked at her big sister and was like, I helped her with that audition.
That's awesome.
So,
Great question. Great question. Thank you so much, Samantha. Would like to come back over here towards the middle somewhere for anybody who's got a question. You've got a question. We're going to come right to you. All right.
Hey guys, huge fan. Just wondering what your favorite internet meme to come out of the Lord of the Rings series is.
Your favorite internet meme to come out of the Lord of the Rings series is. Do you have a favorite internet meme?
There's one that I've seen recently. I think there's been many that have been made of the reunion of when Frodo's in bed and all of the members of the Fellowship come in the room. There's a lot of versions of that. There's one in particular that conflates each member of the Fellowship with like anxiety and depression and full-blown panic attack. It's hard to describe. It just works. I recommend that. It's really funny. I think I sent that to the Hobbit thread.
I think you've covered the, one is not simply walking away. I mean, I think, potatoes, boiling mash, I'm thinking of it too. Boiling mash, I'm thinking of it too.
All right, then keep your secrets.
Keep your secret, yeah. But when you said meme, I just pictured Sir Ian McKellen, legendary Shakespearean and beloved thespian, telling us during one of the pickups that we had to come to the computer because he had something to show us. And it was fan fiction of the decidedly explicit type. I don't know if you were there. And Ian is a very proud gay rights activist and gay activist. And
I don't know.
And so we've enjoyed any number of questions over the last 20 years about the true nature of the relationship between Frodo and Sam. And I tell people it's exactly what they think it is.
Sure. Yeah.
I could get more academic about it, but you get where I'm going.
Okay, great. I want to get another question from the audience. Let's go to you right here. Your hand shot straight up. Yeah. If you can come forward here. Here we go. Right here in this. There we go.
Okay, I wrote mine down. Okay, a huge fan, but I just wanted to say how meaningful the movie was to me. So my mom always says to me at my sad moments, let me be your Sam, but you gotta be Frodo and not give up.
Oh.
So.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Yeah, we bring up Lord of the Rings a lot.
Oh, I love that.
But anyways, do you ever think this movie was going to blow up as much as it did?
I just don't think there's any. Thank you for your questions, and that's such a lovely story about you and your mom. That's gorgeous. I think that's one of the things that I love most about having been a part of something like this, and Lord of the Rings specifically, is that it really is like this sort of, it's this piece of connective tissue for people. It's shared amongst families, and it's shared amongst friends. We hear countless stories from people who derive real meaning in their lives from the books and also the films for a variety of reasons, and I really love that. What was the other part of your question?
Did you think it was going to blow up?
No, I don't think there was any way to know. Look, I think we had a sense, it was early days with the internet, there was some spies, people trying to get photos. That was new for us culturally.
Early days of the internet, it was fax paper and Napster and AOL, like the first AOL iteration.
And the One Ring was a burgeoning thing. Like there were sort of internet rumors.
Ain't It Cool News? He was Peter's connection to the fans that kind of gave him a equal footing with the studios, because they're like, we want to do this, and he's like, well, this is what the fans like.
That's right.
And he would release pages for them to read and stuff. But when we went to the Cannes Film Festival in 2001, in like March, April, May, something like that in the spring. And we saw the world's media, literally the world's media, you know, hundreds of photographers, and we were being invited to be on every show and every magazine and everything. And you, at that point, you're like, oh man. And then when 9/11 happened and the whole world kind of had this modern era loss of innocence, Western world, modern era, you know, since the Second World War, maybe loss of innocence. And, you know, you get to October and you get to November, and it's just kind of a grim time. It was a grim time politically, culturally. You didn't know militarily what was going to happen. And so when December 19th got there, and Lord of the Rings brought this world of mythology and a system of, you know, honor and values and, you know, all the things that kind of orient you to the nature of right and wrong in the world, because it was kind of a simplistic reaction that the world had at that moment. But this trilogy came along at the perfect moment. So I think, you know, there was this kind of, oh my gosh, excitement at Cannes, and then it kind of planed out, and then right as we got to, as 9/11 happened, you don't know what that's going to mean. Yeah. And then when the film came out and it was Christmas time, holiday time, it was like, oh, okay, this is big.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, is it was being poised, certainly from a studio perspective, it was being poised to be a big thing, and they were putting a lot of energy behind it, but it's abstract until it is released into the world, and then it took on a life of its own. There's no way to know in advance that it would be embraced by pop culture in the way that it has. It's so far beyond any of our expectations, you know.
I mean, I don't know how granular it is standing up in an open hall to hear some of the details of this stuff, but you knew when you saw Nyla Dixon's costumes that they were the greatest costumes ever made. You knew when you saw Alan Lee's illustrations and they started designing the sets to match exactly his illustrations, that it was the greatest visual design of any movie you'd ever seen. You know, you knew when you would look at the chainmail that they would hand make and put on the New Zealand Army, you know, to wear 5, 6, 7, 800 members of the New Zealand Army, active duty army, wearing Lord of the Rings chainmail. You knew it was special. Yeah. But then you also see like their first ad campaign stuff that we saw, the first posters, the first idea for ads that they had were like, it looked like kind of like splashy 70s Dungeons and Dragons show. And like they, for my taste, and I think for a lot of our taste, looking at it, it was like, wait a minute, does the studio not understand that we're making Lawrence of Arabia? You know, we're making an important, you know, piece of literature that, you know, in film history, it'll stand the test of time. And we didn't know, and then they got worried and they started selling off territories. So you're watching the studio who have the balls to say, do 3 movies instead of 2. Peter, you basically have a blank check to like do whatever you want. They're making moves. Yeah. And you're like, so, you know, and then if you're one actor in it, you're like, I don't know. Like, I remember talking to Mark Odeski, the creative executive. I'm like, am I in it? I remember we had a coffee in Wellington. I'm like, am I actually in the movie? And he's like, yeah, you're in the movie. I was like, well, I mean, I know I'm in the movie, but like, is Sam an important character? You know, from the studio's perspective. You know, it's an important character in literature, but so's Bill the Pony. He didn't get much time. You know what I mean? So when you were asking a question like that, you know it's great, but you don't know if it's a hit, and anything is possible for the good or for the bad.
Yeah, great answer, yeah.
So guys, I want to thank everybody out here for coming out. Let them hear it, everybody. Thank you guys so much. Elijah Wood, Sean Astin, the stars of the #1 truly of all time.
Thank you, the City of Angels, we love you, and it's good to be home, and I hope we see you in the hall later. Much love.
Also,
Hector, thank you.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you.